Hello, everybody. Today, we're talking about topping. So what does it mean to be a top? Talking about definitions is a great place to start. Clarifying what each of these terms means helps. And it's changing all the time. So let's define things, shall we? Top and bottom are verbs or nouns to describe the physical play of S&M, but with less of a focus on the kinky or scene aspects. They're synonyms to dominant and submissive. Dominance and submission are a set of behaviors and customs that are usually used as a subset of BDSM. And there are people that are a little bit of both, a little dominant, a little submissive, and those are called switch or verse. A top is different than a dom. Dom and sub are more like a scene role play situation, an intentional theme where the dom will be a master and the sub will be a slave. I'm being very general there, but I'm just giving you the difference of that being a kind of topping versus top as an umbrella. There's lots of different definitions of that. The definition of bottom, one who prefers submitting and likes to receive. In Queerland, there are also people who are not just the top or just the bottom. And they're called switch, or in some case, verse, short for versatile. And that is because that's the back and forth. You go, I go. That's the lifestyle. Honestly, that's what I was in my first few relationships, because I didn't know that you had a choice really about whether you wanted a top or bottom or for a top, a bottom. The people who are switch, there's a spectrum on every single one of those. They're fine descriptors, but again, communicate and make sure that you're on the same page with your partner about your definitions, because really that's all that matters is your sexual compatibility when it comes to what you want and what you're looking for. It's kind of like what their sex language is. Like we talk about love languages all the time, but we don't really talk about sex languages. There's the decompressor, the person who, when they're stressed out, I definitely have those tendencies on occasion. It's the explorer, which I am definitely into now. I just want to see what kind of new things are out there, different things that I haven't experienced yet. Then we have the fair trade, which is where your verse and your switch come in. They want it to be even. They want a lot of give or take. They feel like that balances them. There's the givers that are definitely like me. I that's how I care about my partner's pleasure, and I want to give them pleasure. There's also the guard. I consider myself one of these as well. We're more concerned about somebody having a safe and comfortable experience. Then, of course, you have the passionate lovers, which I'd like to think that I am definitely part of, even in casual settings, thank you very much, are about intensity and being consumed by the act of sex. There's the pleasure seekers who are just looking to feel good. Like, I just want to have sex. Priority are the people that put sex number one, like all the time. It's very important to them. And then there's the connectors, the ones that need some sort of connection, intimate mental touch before they can do physical touch. There's also the gurus, and those are the people that are like, it is a spiritual experience for them to have sex. There are also kinky people out there. You're talking about more like doms and subs. So I'm going to give you that list one more time. The decompressor, the explorer, fair trade, giver, the guard, the passionate one, pleasure seeker, priority, connector, the guru, and of course, kinky. One, maybe more, of these items pertain to you as a sexual being. There's obviously other ones I probably didn't think of course. If you think of any, please let me know. All of those can be top, bottom, or anything in between. I want to give you a perfect example of that. As a giver, I am a top. However, I can tell you there are plenty of times when I run into bottoms who are like, how can I give to you? Because they want to be of service. But it's not about forcing a situation or a scenario. It's about understanding and using comfort to be confident. And these people can trust that you can give them what they want when they're asking for it. So. Just based upon my looks in general, a lot of people already assume that I'm a lot of things. A lesbian or dude. That I'm butch, the top. I mean, straight people don't have to define whether or not they're top or bottom. But in our worlds, where you are free to be the unicorn that you are, always discuss sexual practices with your partner. Get on the same page. What does being a top mean to you? Because there's three main things that I think help define the label of top. The three things are confidence, knowledge, and communication. When we talk about communication in general, what we're trying to say here is that you are the person that's going to be setting the expectations for this sexual experience. So you're also the one that's going to be negotiating the scene. The lead. It's as if you were dancing. You are the lead. The top is the lead. It's best to know how your partner dances. The way to do that is through communication, because every single person is different. I don't care how experienced you are. A new partner is a different partner. And how you touch them is going to be different than how you've touched somebody else, because what they like is going to be different and how they like it. Communication and reading body language. That is, what if somebody's hard of hearing or hard of seeing? And if that's the case, how do you have to change your communication styles for that? And as a top, they're going to look to you to do that and to know how to do that. So if you don't, read up on it, because it's a good bit of info to have. So make sure you're communicating, because you are the driver and you're going to create the kind of energy that you're bringing to the sexual interaction. Now, when we're talking about knowledge, I was reading my aunt's Cosmos when I was a little kid. I love learning about all different kinds of sex, because there's something to be learned, like any kind of sex. So watch instructional videos. I'm going to be doing skill videos for kissing, for how to use your mouth, how to use your hands, strap on, and then a toy one. A big aspect of knowledge is learning your own body. Like, I wasn't always a stone top. I went through the whole verse switch thing. And I discovered that my true calling was to be a stone top. I am into pleasing other people, and it gets me off, literally gets me off. Then if you're communicating with your partners and you're informing yourself, even if there's something new that you haven't tried before, read about it, watch a video on it, DM me, ask me, okay? And whatever items you need to do in order to build that confidence up. Confidence is that is the blood life of a top. Having that confidence that you are going to do things to this person that they so desperately need. Some examples of what that means is you're going to be the one making the first move. You're probably going to be the more assertive one, and in turn have to ask for consent. And by the way, consent is not only for tops. Please ask your top for consent to do things. Don't assume. Check. Just check. Communicate. The tops will tend to be the more aggressive. Like, there's so many different perspectives of what a top is and can be. Those are the main things, though. If you learn how to communicate and you can increase your knowledge and build your confidence, golden. My point is, there's no right or wrong way to have a sexual experience with your partner. It's what you guys decide. And as long as you're communicating, you're learning from each other, and you're building each other's confidence up, that's great. Let's just get down to the nitty-gritty of it. What are some ways to figure out whether or not you're a top? The thought of putting on a strap-on does what? Well, if you want to put on the strap-on, That's a top. Can you get off from fucking someone else? You're definitely a top. Do you prefer to lay there and have somebody devour you? You're probably a bottom. Do you enjoy like giving as much to your partner as getting from your partner? Definitely switch or verse. And those things could change. There's no right or wrong about that either. My very first girlfriend and I were switch verse. My second girlfriend was a stone top. I didn't even know what that was. And I didn't understand why she didn't want me to give her pleasure. I was really confused by that, which has helped me explain and work through that now that I am a stone top, to explain to my potential partners what that means to me, because everybody's definition is different. And then the next relationship was switch verse. And then the next relationship was somebody who was fairly toppy, I would say. The first time she definitely topped me. And then we only had 2 other interactions after that. And both of those times, I topped her. And let me tell you, I loved it. I loved the fact that I was topping somebody who was toppy. And then I actually started dating somebody else. And we were also verse and switch, but that's when I started to really experiment with my body. I figured out different ways to make myself come. That was when I made my first person squirt. That was the first time I came by fucking somebody with the strap on. Once those things all started happening and I was like, oh, I can do this? Huh, nice. Then I got married. Lack of a better term, straight. So wasn't really into giving anyway, which for me was fine. At that point, I had figured out that I really do enjoy giving. Once I got a divorce from her, I've been open ever since. I try to be upfront with people at the very beginning to make sure that they know that they are not going to be fucking me, and just set that precedent and that expectation. I did make a mistake in my last relationship. Not a mistake, but I handled it incorrectly in that I didn't know how to communicate effectively and efficiently. What does explain a little bit more of my experience as a top is because I was in long-term relationships. There's something in long-term relationships that you can pull out that feels impossible out of a casual situation. And I just don't think that that's true. I just think it's part of what we're programmed to understand. Once I did get with the most recent ex, we were even doing the co-topping. So you got 2 for 1 there. And ever since then, I've been trucking along doing service topping. Yeah, that's kind of my story of how I became a top. And honestly, by bottoming, by being switch, touching yourself and learning your body so that you can teach other women how to learn things about their body, you can learn so much. That's amazing. If you think of anything that you would like me to discuss, please comment. Cheers, everybody. See you next time. Who's the man in your relationship? That's so gross. Who's the man in your relationship? Karen.